So what about the man or woman, age 50, 60, 70? What about it? If I talk about making love as the way to finding God, what do we do about it in addressing this age group of people who have lived their lives and do not have a partner and feel inside themselves, as they often do, that I don't really need to find a partner, I'm all right. What about them? Well, let me discuss it. Life is its own solution. Life is not perverse, although we often think it is. Life is a process, a wonderful process of integrity. There is justice and rightness in life as long as we can stand back far enough and observe it. The difficulty is with personal love that it makes us put our eyes right up close to the scene and we can't see the total picture. One of the things about getting older is that age is or does necessarily pull us back from the scene, or should do. And we're able to take a wider look at life and the world and what the life we've lived. The drive to do, to succeed, to achieve, to build, has generally receded. That's because we come in a brand new, fresh body, as I say, with our potential future already in it. It's like being wound up. We're wound up like a little clockwork toy, and we're released. And we bound into life and we think we're never going to die because this wonderful spring in us is there. And as we know, the processes of going through the years, the decades, and at the end, and towards the end, towards the end, the spring starts to lose its tension, and the older person is supposed to lose their tension as well. And life becomes easier, you know. As you get older, because life is not perverse, but is its own solution, as you get older and don't have the mobility, you don't need so much. You can exist on less money. You don't have children to support. It's quite a solution. You don't get much money, perhaps, but you don't need much money. And you don't need much. And so there's a sense of peace comes in. Now, in a woman, for instance, a woman she could be in her 50s, say, and she hasn't had a partner for some time. She might be a widow, but she hasn't met anyone. And at this time, after some years, she says, "Well, I don't really want a man," because you know, to a woman when she gets at a certain age, to have a man around is a bit of a headache. You know, they sort of want you to look after them, and they're big babies, and they're not very clean babies either, although they think they are. You know, they really think they are, and they do their best, but from a woman's standard, often they're not very clean, and they're a bit of a nuisance around the place once you come to terms with your life. But I wouldn't like to say that if a woman still has unhappiness in her or a resentment against man. I would be inclined to say it doesn't matter what age you are, woman. Be open for love. Doesn't mean that you've got to make love, but at least be open. If a man came to you, turned up, and you know how these things happen, and things worked together so that you were attracted to each other, and He was a good man as far as your experience should be able to tell you, and you should know. And you enjoyed each other's company. Well, why wouldn't you make love if that happened? If you don't want to, if it's not avoidance, but just because you know what you don't want and it's pleasant to be with him, well, then you don't have to make love, of course. Because when you get to these ages, 50s and 60s and 70s, you've made your love, you have made love. And although sometimes the life has not been, the love life has not been a very loving life in the sense that there hasn't been much love in it, there might have been a lot of sex in it, but at the same time, when two bodies have ever been together, even in sex, when you look down from the moon, where they remove the person, when two bodies come together, love is served. So even though there might have been sex and excitement and all the rest of the aberrations that have gone on, love, as impersonal love, is served. It is served now while we sit here. The presence of us all joined in a common love and a common desire to find a greater reality or truth within ourselves. Impersonal love is being served here now. For I love thee, for I am between your heavenly Father and your earthly father. I have the years to be able to do that, and I have the wisdom and the truth to be able to do that. So I am the representation of impersonal love for you, to you. And your love of the truth that you hear here, that which is the truth I am, for what my teaching is what I am. I live my teaching. It is my life because I live it. Then, if you love that teaching, you love me. And that's not to love the person, but you love what I am, my life. And in that we have an exchange of love that is not personal, but it's very beautiful, isn't it? It's good to know that it exists here. So, be open all your life for the possibility of love coming in as man or woman, no matter how old you are, and be open even to the possibility of making love, no matter how old you are. You don't have to make love, you are free. But don't have an attitude against it. Don't ever think that you're too old. It is not true. You are never too old to stop making physical love, given that the man or woman arrives and you are drawn together. You are never too old. Because when you open yourself for love, you open your psyche. If you say, well, I don't like man much, that's a wrong attitude. You close yourself off to a part of life. It doesn't make any difference to say, look, I'm available for love any time, no matter what my age, and if he turns up any time, I will be available. But it is my right to know the man that I want to love. So I'm not going to make love unless I want to, but I'm available. So you open yourself up for that possibility. For God is wonderful. The most amazing things happen as they've happened to you anyway. Right. And with money. Now, I'm only going to speak generally, but with money, as you get older, it's amazing how sufficient money's there, it's reasonably comfortable. You got a little bit tucked away, or if you haven't, you can manage. That's what life's like. Usually at the end of your life, it's all right. And you can potter around and do the things. If you're over the age of 65, for instance, you've always got the pension of some kind. And it mightn't be enough, but it's sufficient. If you don't want too much, you can get by, you'll get by. And so you have to cut your cloth to fit you, your money size, and you do. The thing is to accept it. Or do your best to get some more, but don't be anxious about it. But generally you'll feel you have enough. So it is right through your life as you get older. You've had your day, and I'm not saying it's ever finished, but I've had my day, in as much as I have had my day, and I mustn't get anxious about what's coming, and I certainly must avoid being anxious about what has been. For the eventide of your life is supposed to produce a wise and a loving man or woman. Loving, I mean, by impersonal love. If you live through your grandparents or grandchildren, you're going to know great unhappiness, because one or other, the mother or your daughter as her son-in-law, are just as likely to not want to put the children with you. Something will happen. They'll be always busy, and they won't bring them to you enough, and you'll be unhappy because you never see the grandchildren often enough. You've got to be bigger than that. You mustn't substitute one person for another. Sure, it's lovely to see the little ones, the grandchildren and all the rest of them, but you mustn't depend on that. Otherwise, you'll make yourself emotional and unhappy. You're the wise one of the family. When you're older, you are guru. Now, once in this society, grandfather and grandmother were always guru in the society of this world of the East. Grandmother was, well, we've got to say grandfather as far as we know. Grandfather was guru. Grandmother was quiet and passive woman who had lived and raised children and loved man, and she was the passive guru, woman of love that could guide the younger ones in the matters of love and the family. And guru, grandfather, was he who had the wisdom to speak to the younger ones and pass on his wisdom of his years. Guru was everywhere. Today there's very little guru in our society because the older people get emotional. You've heard it spoken of enough this week so far about mums and dads. They're just not up to it. They are dishonest. They're dishonest in their love life, and they become dishonest in their lives. They get things wrong, and as loving as they are, and they are loving because they are our mothers and fathers who, went to work and fed us, and really stayed home from when they could have had a good time because we were sick and looked after us. That is impersonal love, looking down from the moon. That is all the God as every being, serving every being in some way or other, and they have loved us, and they have loved us as persons too. They have loved us personally, and although it's made them a bit emotional and caused unhappiness, they have done their best. And we must know that about our parents. Everybody has done their best. If you only teach a young body, a baby, ignorance, as our society and all our parents and all the parents before them were ever taught, ignorance, you can't really blame that body when it grows up into adulthood and has other children. You can't blame it for its ignorance. Can you? They did their best. In the raising of us, they certainly did their best. And it wasn't easy for them, was it? And many times they had to die to self and overcome it to serve you and me. So when it comes to judging the parents, do always acknowledge that they did their best. It doesn't matter what they did. I mean, even even if they sexually abused you, I've got to use an extreme case. They weren't even, the man wasn't even responsible for that. He is in a society of dishonesty. The karma of our society is going through everybody who is born. And according to their lights, they have to express that negative karma of our society. And it will always be, or usually be, in some sexual way, which might not be as extreme as a incestuous taboo of some form, but it will express itself as emotion and frustration. We can't blame the individual for that. We can certainly point out to them about honesty, and they will have great difficulty hearing that. But, okay, you do your best too to point out what you know. You're doing your best. Everybody's doing their best according to their knowledge. So we mustn't blame. We're all responsible for the dishonesty, we as the human race. All you can do is endeavour to get it better now that you know more truth. So, unfortunately, the older people of today, or the great majority that I seem to encounter or hear about, are filled with emotion towards the end of their life. They, if you want to tell them the truth, they can't hear it because they want to put their emotions forward. Now, I trust that you people who are with me, and especially you older ones, are closer to being back to what it's supposed to be. You know, you come out the other end as guru. Not that you're going to sit up on a stage like I am, right? This is just how it is. That's how it is. Not everybody has to do it. What you've got to do is what you've got to do. That's your task. My job, the task of this body, all determined, was for me to live my life, to experience practically everything that you've experienced, so that I might be able to express the truth to you and help you to bring love and honesty into the world. That's my task, the task of this body being in space and time. Yours is, according to your lights, which is according to your predisposition, which is according to how it is written for you fundamentally, to do the same in your own way. In your work, to be as open and honest and truthful as you can to your work, and make sure that your work is truthful to you. With your children, to do it there, to do it wherever your life leads you, like now, to be open and honest and straight, and have your psyche open, not afraid, and yet always vigilant inside yourself, and also vigilant to dishonesty endeavouring to be put upon you, so that you don't have it. So getting back to the older people, a lot of older people have made love. And the love that has been made, as I say, even if it has been sexual, the two bodies together, is God's way or life's way of exchanging energies. And although our life might have been happy due to sexual experiences and ignorance when we were younger, and by the time we're older, we discover, well, my God, I never did know love that Barry Long's talking about, but I hear it, but it didn't happen to me as such. Don't be disappointed, don't be discouraged by that. It was your lot. Everything that happened to you was absolutely right to make a finer man or a finer woman of you. Not everybody experiences the same experiences. Each of us is unique. And each of our experiences is unique, for even the same experience has a uniquely different effect upon us according to our lights or our uniqueness. So don't try to live like the other person. Don't look out and say, well, that's happened to them, it should happen to me, or how I want that to happen to me. Your life is how it is. You can make it better by being honest and by being in contact with me inside that fundamental place and getting your life right. As soon as you start to live honestly, you start to get your life right, because you can't put up with unhappiness, which always derives from some dishonesty somewhere, some fear in you. You're afraid of something. You're afraid to change things. Endeavour not to be afraid, but you remember that you can't do anything before it's time. So don't get a feeling that I've got to do it, because I don't teach that. I do teach that you have to act, you have to do, but you have to recall that you cannot do anything before it's time. And yet you've always got to question by looking at the difficulty of the problem. Perhaps it's time now. And in 5 minutes' time, if it occurs to you, perhaps it's time now. No. So on. And that is vigilance. And that keeps you alive. Because you don't go into the dream of everything's all right and I'm just going to do this, and before long you get into monotony, don't you? Because the consciousness is not present. It's either talking about the past or it's just dreaming on, thinking about anything. You are man and woman. You come to life by living like I am speaking about. And you can feel that because you're coming to life now, even though it means some major changes in your life, perhaps through hearing the truth. But you'll come to life, you'll say, this is right, this is good. You're taking a chance on life. You know, you can't take it easy with life. If you take the sure bet, you pat it all down and the ground's all nice and flat and easy. And then you grow some grass over it and everything's fine. But the trouble is that you don't take a chance with life. You get afraid of taking a chance. Now, a chance with life means, all right, woman, yes, I like being with you and I love you. But I can't stand your emotion and I can't stand my emotion. So can we get rid of it together? Instead of spending our time emotionalizing, let's make some love. Yeah? Let's enjoy the earth. Now, will you do this with me? And if she says yes, great. You're alive, because she's not going to let you rest. You can't go off into dreamy sleep or staring into space, because the first thing she'll say when she comes out of the bedroom, what are you looking into space for? Oh, nothing. What do you mean, nothing? Oh, yeah. Well, what am I looking into space for? You know, it's different to be looking at something or to be still inside, looking inside, being with me, right? But you can't dream off. It's not allowed. That's what you used to do. That's what Mum and Dad did. That's what everybody's done. They dream off. Sit in the bus, reading the advertisements or something, you know. No, there's clouds, you know. There's sky, there's life. And you don't have to be busy, but you're present. You don't die while you're alive. Right. Okay, I think that's covered that, but we'll let's breathe out and go into me. Let's do it. Right, breathe out first straight away so that you don't get any old air in. 2 or 3 nice deep breaths, and in we go, straight in. Now you've got 2 modes of your intelligence or your perception. One is clarity, one is love. So one is perception, one is feeling, let's say, although feeling is a form of perception. So first of all, if you can do it, always aim to go down into the blackness with your invisible attention into me. It's black in there. It's dark in there. Be easy. Helps to keep the corners of the lips up. so that you break the mask that tends to form on the face, another psychic structure. That connects you with the smile inside the body, which is inside of me. Helps you to go down into me, where the smile of joy, of life comes from. But you look down into me and you see nothing. Don't be amazed when you see nothing. There's nothing in there. Be able to see nothing. Be able to actually perceive nothing. Not even the blackness. The blackness will disappear as you perceive nothing. Practice doing that. See how long you can just perceive nothing without any thought coming across. If thought comes across, open your eyes. If it keeps persisting, have a look around the room and then close them and go down into me again. See nothing again. It's lovely to be able to see nothing. For every second that you see nothing, it's very valuable, very real. Because the mind is always looking for something. And when it can see nothing, it means it's stopped. Just for that brief period, it stops. The other way of going into me is to go straight into the perception of feeling and to feel the life in you. And the best feeling, the way to feel life in you, is that there is well-being in me. In other words, it's good to be alive, or it's right to be alive. There's a feeling of well-being in everybody. Enjoy it. It is God's pleasure, life's pleasure, that you enjoy me. A stillness arises when you feel me or perceive me. It calms the mind and eventually stops its erratic movements. It's so refreshing to have no past, to have no future, to just be. To not have to prove anything to yourself or anyone else. Sometimes there's a movement to go to sleep because the mind feels that in the beginning when you do this it's a command to go to sleep. But it's not, is it? It's a place of continuous presence. It's not sleep at all. It's sweet presence of nothing. That is the truth. That is the truth of me. Now imagine this is how you make love, physical love. The body moves. When the body moves, you don't have to worry about it. It moves of its own, and it is perfect. You look into me like this all the time, and you perceive nothing. For if you perceive anything, it's fantasy, imagination. But there is an extraordinary presence of the pleasure in me that comes from the making of love. It is, as I say, the meeting of the two poles of the earth. And the result is a sweetness that is equivalent to the sweetness of life on earth all at once, in one beautiful merging action that has no fantasy, no form in it, because this is where you make love. In this field, if you are with me now, this is the field of love. The action is not taking place, but the field of love is there. It is still, it is peaceful, it is sweet in its own right, from the release of the burden of having to be anything. Stillness is the way. Stillness is the only way. To me. Now you women, you do this and practice this and be this. This is where you make love. This is the psyche. All love-making, the pleasure of love, the sweetness, the wonder of it, occurs in this field, in the dark. You men also. Any fantasy will break this field. This is a holy field. If you are deep enough with me in this, this is the divine mind. All love making is made in the divine mind, this stillness. For it is God's pleasure that man and woman make love, make consciousness, which is God itself. Now, because of the love that was made to make your body by two bodies, man and woman, you are able to feel that love. And that's where you feel the sweetness in me. So you don't have to have made love to feel this, because the love has been made for you in the making of your external reflection of me within. That love that was made, that made this body, lasts as long as the body lasts and can always be felt as me. So never tell me that you have no love in you. Certainly you cannot feel love sometimes, or you cannot feel peace or release. But that's only because on top of your love you have put your fear, emotions, guilt, sentiment, and that breaks the field. But you'll come back to love again, the love inside yourself, this field. When you're ready, still being me, open your eyes and come into the visible world outside of me. Yes, it's Tim, isn't it? Yes, Tim. I've got something inside me I need to break through which is very compacted. What is it, Tim? I don't know what it is. Right. What you will have to do is look at it, keep looking to see what does this relate to, first of all, in my external life. But if it's compacted, it's not a disturbance as such, is it? It's just a... You tell me. It's preventing me from being still. And where would you say this compaction of energy? It is energetic, isn't it? Okay, we'll just say it's compacted. Where would you say it is seated? Indicating your external body. Down. The seat of unhappiness, as you've heard me say, is in the stomach. That's where it should be. And everybody has it in them. The thing is not to be identified with it and not to let it creep up. If it can only be kept in the stomach, it doesn't get up to the head or the chest or the solar plexus, and then it doesn't invade us. You could say that the stomach is the place of hell in man and woman, but hell's got to go somewhere, all the emotions, and the best place for it is the stomach. As soon as hell creeps up to another centre like the solar plexus, fear arises, problems arise. As soon as it gets up across the chest, sighing arises. Because unhappiness should be in the stomach, not in the chest. So it affects the breathing. Here, in the solar plexus, it affects the love, because this is the seat of love. Here, the chest is the seat of the emotions, and when it gets up from there, it fills the chest. Goes right across the chest cavity, affects the lungs. That's why we sigh. And then it creeps over into the heart. Having got into the heart, it then makes our heart ache. We get longing in us, longing for love. When we get love and we get attached to it, we get attached to love, don't live honestly. The dishonesty, the depressions and things feed the unhappiness in it. The attachment creeps up into the heart unknowingly, and then when the person dies or leaves you, the heart is broken. Why is the heart broken? The heart breaks open, so it is, the expression is, the heart breaks open to let the attachment out, all the pus and muck that's gathered in the heart through sentiment and attachment. So every heart's got to be broken as long as it has impurity in it. For the baby is born with a pure heart, like all the animals. But man and woman have an impure heart because it gets filled with attachment. But the heart is a very important organ, isn't it? And the unhappiness loves to get up into the heart. It loves to get into the solar plexus to cause doubts and fears about your love. And when you've got any pressure of love on you, you'll find your solar plexus going like this. And if you're really going through it, you'll actually get a physical pain in the solar plexus from the acuteness of the vibration there when you're under stress in love. This chest area often contains the emotions of attachment to the family, mum and dad, the accommodation. So we go around sighing to get some more air in, because the emotional organism, the emotional body inside this body, also uses breath. It uses everything that this body uses. And so it makes us sigh to get more breath into it, to get its breath. Then the emotion also likes to get hold of the throat, as you know. When it rises up to the throat centre, which should be used to talk about God and life and truth and love, Well, that's what all the senses and all the organs are for, expressive organs. When it gets in there, you can't speak, or you have difficulty in communicating, or you start to speak emotionally. The words come out. You want to say something, and they come out emotionally. And of course, when it gets up here into your brain, which it's always endeavouring to do, it makes you think emotionally, hear emotionally, see emotionally. The eyes go red whenever there's any pressure on. The eyes go red, the tears come. The face then distorts, ugly. For this stuff down here in the stomach is hell. In other words, it is the devil's down there, if you want another word for it. And when it gets up into the face gets exceedingly ugly when there is emotion in it, when the emotion is really driving and is unrestrained. You see the loved one's face, and it's distorted. It gets narrow, pinched. The eyes go red. The whites of the eyes are no longer clear. They get red. And the face is very, very ugly. We see it in our children when they also get willful. The redness comes, the screaming, the body stiffens as the devil comes up from hell. The devil that is in all of us. Emotion. So, yes, Andre. I beg your pardon? Pain in your solar plexus. Relates to your mother. You're right. Oh, well, you know what's got to be done with your mother. Why have you got to be more loving with her? She's demanding of you.
But the problem is, you see, I can't quite get it because I've just been married with my wife about 6 weeks ago. And I come from a Jewish family. I didn't feel Jewish at all, but did like us have a Jewish marriage. My wife was Jewish.
Yes.
And I can see some bad out there. And this caused us a great deal of difficulty. So I've got to go and see them and be quite firm about it and say, well, look, mum and dad, this isn't right.
Yes, you've got a big number there. What did you say you gave into then?
To my parents and aunt.
In relation to what?
In relation to us having a Jewish marriage.
Oh, I see. You did have a Jewish marriage.
No, we didn't. No.
Oh.
I said yes, we'll do it in 6 months or so.
Oh, I see. To follow later.
That's right.
Okay, so Andre is saying, I don't know whether you heard him, but I'll just repeat briefly. He was married 6 weeks ago, and he is Jewish, and his family, his mother family, being the Jewish family, want him to have a Jewish wedding, and they want his wife to become Jewish, and he knows that is not right, and so he's got to go and see and tell them. And yes.
But the problem is, I still have some anger and resentment towards my mother, and I'd like to clear myself.
I still have some anger and resentment towards my mother, and I would like to clear that. That's because she.
But at the same time, I know I've got to be firm with regard to this marriage thing, but I don't see the way out from a practical point of view.
The only way is to live your life not according to the Jewish religion or anything, but as you know it to be right for you and your woman that you love. That's the only way to do it. You break all the hearts around you, they'll disown you, cut you off, so what?
That doesn't bother me.
Right.
I'm frightened of it. If I don't see that, I won't be able to deal with the emotion side of me.
Well, then you can see them, and when you go to explain to them, that is the action of dealing with the emotion. You put it as honestly and as straightly as you can from your own life. This is your life. It is not the Jewish religion's life, because you don't believe it is. They believe that their life is the Jewish religion's life. Right? That's fair enough. They are free to do that. Yeah, well, that's religion, isn't it? But you are a man who says, I cannot live a lie. Right? If the Jewish religion says, I don't know whether the Jewish religion believes in the Ten Commandments, do they? Right, then I cannot live, I cannot not steal, I cannot not commit adultery, I cannot not do this, I cannot not do that. Because although I might not do one of them, I'll do the other. I cannot practice a religion in which I cannot live up to. Is that fair enough, Mum and Dad? Oh, son, now what are you talking about? It's all symbolic, you know. Well, it's not symbolic, is it? You've got to do it. You've got to live it if you're going to be true. You should, unless you are emotionally still holding on to Mum and Dad, because you have to face this, that Mum and Dad are going to be appalled by your refusal to accept the Jewish tradition. In one way or another, they're not going to like it. As you know, they put pressure on you. But if they're big enough, if they truly do love, they love you more than the Jewish religion, which they don't practice much anyway. If they love you, then they will say, all right, we're very sad about this, but all right, Andre, I hear you must live your life. And you go and live it, and we will receive you any time with love, because we do practice the religion of love. You know? But if you speak to them honestly without emotion and say, this is how it is, and this is how it is, the woman that I love, and this is how it is not right, and I don't want anything to come between us, because we love one another now as we are, and you just explain how you feel. It is your life, how you feel. You don't have to put that down as my life. You just say that you live your life this way and that you love them, and it won't make any difference as far as you are concerned, and just put it to them. If they get emotional about it, don't get emotional. If you get emotional, that will reverberate in here. If you don't get emotional, as best you can, you will have done all you can. Now, the beauty of the honesty is that once you've done all you can, you can't do any more for now, can you? If the other people can't accept what you say or don't want to accept what you say, that's their problem. It's not yours, and you must not take their problem on, as long as you have been honest, true to life, true to love, true to what you know is right for you and your woman. So in that action of just presenting it all without accusation, without expectation from them in any way, and with as little fear as possible, although that will be difficult, but as little fear, put it before them.
The beauty is I've actually gone through the action, but then I went back on my own footsteps, and it was very difficult indeed for me to actually do it. And I decided on a certain day and I delayed it, and I did it, and I didn't get emotional over there. I felt like I'm dying inside, to be honest. It's very cool.
And this was in connection with what?
With the marriage.
With the marriage.
Yes.
So agreeing to go back to the marriage, agreeing to have the marriage.
I went to that, so I'm going to get married mistakenly.
Oh, I see. When you told them that she wasn't Jewish, and you had to go and tell them that to start with.
Yes, that's right.
And you did that, and you felt better.
I said to them, she's not going to become Jewish either. And then, that was all right actually, but then my parents and other people put pressure on me.
Yes.
And I caved in.
Yes.
Inside, to be honest, it's very cool.
And this was in connection with what?
With the marriage.
With the marriage.
Yes.
So agreeing to go back to the marriage, agreeing to have the marriage.
I went to that, so I'm going to get married mistakenly.
Oh, I see. When you told them that she wasn't Jewish and you had to go and tell them that to start with.
Yes, that's right.
And you did that and you felt better.
I said to them, she's not going to become Jewish either. And then, that was all right actually, but then my parents and other people put pressure on me.
Yes.
And I caved in.
Yes. Okay, well, you can cave out. You can do anything. You can do anything. Nothing is fixed. As I say, you can get married today and you can start divorce proceedings tomorrow. Right? You can do anything within the law. You can do anything. So don't be bound by any conventions. If you do something and it is not right for you, then you have to get it right. And you just have to say, you just be honest and say, I said what I wanted to do, but the pressure was brought on me and I was influenced, and that's fair enough. I take responsibility. I was influenced, but now I know it is not right. My original feeling was right. Okay then, Andre, you'll deal with it. Not easy, but you'll deal with it. Yes, this man at the back here. Your name? David. Yes, David.
Been meditating for about a year now, and I've got a bit of pain in the back of the neck, and it won't go away. I'm not sure if it's something I'm not facing up to, or whether it's just a slow process of being dissolved.
Yes. Well, it could be either something being dissolved, but I think it's something something that you're not facing up to. I'm sorry. When I've been meditating for about a year now, and when I meditate, and I presume this is pretty regular that this happens, that he gets a pain at the back of his neck. First thing, of course, is to ensure as much as possible that it's not posture. Through meditating in a particular way, it's not posture. But if it's not, then it will be associated with something that you're not facing up to. And also because you wondered if it was something you're not facing up to, indicates to me that it is something you're not facing up to. What do you think it might be, David?
Something that keeps cropping up in my mind is that I've recently, I come from London and I've moved up to Scotland. And, I think that might upset my parents. I've moved away.
Righto. Recently I moved from London up to Scotland. I think that's upset my parents that I've moved away. Now, do you like being in Scotland? Is that where you want to be?
I do like it in Scotland. But the reason I went up there was because I wanted to be alone.
Oh.
I wanted to be, I've always lived in the city. I wanted to see what it'd be like to live out in the country.
I went up to Scotland because I wanted to be alone. I've always lived in the city, and I wanted to see what it was like to live in the country. Yes? So you enjoy it where you are? In Scotland?
I'm enjoying it, yeah.
Yes, that's it. I'm talking about you just for now. Do you enjoy what you've done? Is it?
I feel good.
You feel good about it. You feel good about it. That's the important thing, especially when a young man says, I want to get out of the city and I wanted to be alone. Does alone mean away from your parents? Did you live with your parents before? Before you went up to Scotland? No. So it wasn't that you wanted to get away from your parents as such. You went up there to be alone. You know, when I hear a man say, I went to the country to be alone, or I went to Scotland to be alone, a certain resonance happens in me, because when you do that, that's often something real inside you wants you to go and be alone, because the divine life often contains within it a movement inside to want to be alone, to be with nature. It doesn't mean you don't like people, but you want to be, as you say, alone. And I should say that's a very fine motivation in you, if that is the reason you went up there, and to be in the country. not to go and join a group. Did you go up there to join a group? No. If you went up there to join a group, that would be very, very, very suspect. Because then you'd be looking for a bit of excitement and a bit of company. But a man who says, I went to the country to be alone after living there, I wanted to be alone. Something real there. Okay, so now how have Mum and Dad communicated to you that they're feeling your separation? Did they write to you?
Well, they come up to visit me, and
What did they say?
they was asking me to come back home because they think I'm messing up their life.
They think you're messing up your life. Right, fair enough.
I feel that I've disappointed them in a way because they helped me to go to college to study the degree in civil engineering. But I don't like civil engineering.
And how long did you...
I tried it for
2
2 years.
years. And who suggested that you should try civil engineering? Did you select that?
I think I selected that myself, but that seems to be the way I was going.
Yes, as I say, this whole world is backwards. When we don't know what to do, we're asked to choose what we want to study. Later on, when we know what to do, we're too old and we're too busy trying to earn money. Everything's back to front, but that's how it is. So, yes, it's a difficult one, David, and you love your parents. Do you?
I love my mum,
You love your mum.
and I don't like my father. I feel there's disharmony at home. I don't know if it's my cause of tension, but the way my dad talks to my mum sometimes upsets her.
Yes.
So I don't want to be there with it.
No, I hear that. And you don't have the authority to point out to him that he's doing this. Pardon? No, I understand that because there's a certain authority that parents have just by being parents in the first instance. In the second instance, they use their emotional force to talk down the children, even if they try to speak openly and honestly, if the children do. So it's very difficult with parents, most parents, that is. So you love your mum, and you feel you've disappointed them. Have you disappointed your mother or your father? So mum only wants to see that you are happy, and because woman is love. Woman, as I say, I think I've said it earlier, woman is 100% love, and man is 90% love with something to do. That's why he's always so busy and active. But woman really only wants to be loved and to be loved. And so, generally speaking, this doesn't always work, but generally speaking, the mother will be happy as long as my son is happy and healthy and enjoying his life in a right way. She can accept that, although the influence of Dad will make her a bit unhappy because Dad will keep pointing out he should be doing something. He should be making something of his life. And we can all understand what Dad's saying, can't we? That's fair enough, but if the impulse is to say, well, I must live my life and I must be joyous where I am, as joyous as I can, and the other's not right for me, we cannot live up to the parents' expectations. So, what are you going to do about it, David? What do you think's the solution?
I think that I need to talk with Dad.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. If you think you need to talk to Dad, it means that you can talk to him to start with, and that's good. Well done.
Just actually talking in that sense.
Yes. And has he received it reasonably now? You're talking to him. He can hear you.
Yeah.
Good. That's very good. How long have you been with me before?
I came to your talk yesterday and the day before, and about 1 month ago. I've read your books for about a year and a half.
Good. Well, that's good. So, sounds to me as though you're living the divine life as best you can, getting it right. That is good, David. So, yes, I hear your solution is to talk to Dad and not accuse him, but to be grateful as you have been grateful. To me, you just said they helped you, did what you could, but it's not your way, it's not for you. And I suppose Dad's going to say, well, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to be on the dole all your life? What are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do, may I ask you? For a living?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Are you looking for something possibly to do?
I am looking. That's one thing that I find it disturbs me a bit at the moment is that I haven't found something that I enjoy doing.
You haven't? No. Okay. Well, meanwhile, I hear a pretty earnest man speaking, and I hear that that's all right as long as you're looking and vigilant, like that field we were just in, to looking to what it is indicated that I can do that is pleasing to me and fulfilling to me. Keep looking and something will turn up, because that's life is its own solution. Something will come to you. And talk to Dad, and another 20 years, Dad will be saying, you know, my boy, he's doing pretty well. Mind you, he's a bit of a tartar, but he stood me up, but he went his way, and he's got some guts, and he's doing very well, you know. So life is amazing, isn't it, you know. When I was 14, I left school at 14, and I wanted to be a press photographer, and some guy said he could get me in, and so I went and became a messenger boy, first of all, in a newspaper office. And of course, the guy was what we call in Australia big noting himself, saying he could get me the job, and I ended up just a messenger boy because I'd left school and they wouldn't take me on. And my dad said, well, son, my dad was in the age where everybody had to have a trade. You know, that was the old idea. And he said, well, son, all I can say is you're going to end up a Rhodes Scholar. That is, working on the roads. And he wasn't joking, you know, because that was the bottom of the pack, working on the roads. Yes.
Yes.
Your name?
Martin.
Martin.
I've done a similar thing to what Dave has just described, and moved to Scotland. And my wife left me because she felt so attached to her mother that she didn't want to move too far away from her mother.
Yes.
And this has caused her mother to dislike me because my wife has now agreed to come to Scotland. And it's a situation which I find very difficult to sort out.
Yes. And why has your wife agreed to come to Scotland with you, having returned to her mother?
She doesn't really get on well with her mother. And we also have a son, and she can see that it's better that we're together as a family rather than being split.
Yes. And why are you worried about your relationship with your mother-in-law? This is your mother-in-law we're talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. If your wife is pleased to come and be with you, and she must have told her mother-in-law that you must be together as a family, do you still think your mother-in-law expects you and your wife to move back? But your wife wouldn't want to move back, would she?
No, that's the fear within me that she might come for a while and then be bored by these strong attractions.
Yes, and she'll repeat the same old thing because of her emotional...
My main concern is in that situation for my son, who's going to be really getting confused.
Well, how do you and your wife get on?
Well, generally no problem.
Do you love one another? Well, if you love one another, that comes first. And this mother thing, of course, will come between you. And if there's anything that's not too good between you, it'll be because of the mother. And the woman will be split between you and the mother, as you've seen, and that's your fear, because she's split, because she should love you and love to be with you, and she should have left her mother a good while ago. Is your wife here by any chance? No. It's not easy, you know. If you can ever get a partner to be with me when you are with me, it works much easier, because you can hear the good sense if you can, and then you can remind each other and you can get it more together. When one's alone, it's not so easy. Still, first of all, is she with you yet?
Next month.
Next month. Well, when you see her again and when you get it, you'll have to sit down and you'll have to get it right straight between you that you do love one another and that you want to be together. You've got to endeavour to get that right by some form of honesty, which is why you're here this week or today. You've got to change your life so that you do love one another, or the love that you have is fresh and new as possible. Then you have to address the mother-in-law from the common ground of your own love, the two of you, of what you want. You have to be absolutely united to address the mother-in-law. If there's any doubt in your wife, of course there'll be a wavering and there'll be unhappiness. She has to know what she wants, in other words. She has to know that it does not work, from her experience, it does not work living with her mother or living close to her mother. Is that true, living close to her mother also? Does she have a problem with that?
Yes.
Yes. So she's got to face the fact, no. Because you separate from a situation, and damn me if the mind doesn't think it's going to be all right next time. It's never all right next time. It's not going to be any different. But you've got to get her to see that it's not all right. And there's no good going back there. And you've got to say, well, look, what we'll do is we'll go and see your mother so often, or every 3 months or something, and we'll go and see her. But it would be best if we avoid having her up here if it's going to be disruptive. But we will go and see her. And you'll have to make the effort, and so that she doesn't feel too split. Won't you?
Yes, I think we've agreed to do this already.
Yes, but the thing is to make her see, without any doubt, that it doesn't work, so that she won't get hankering that it might be that she should be with her mother. She's got to see it and say it, and you'll have to get her to say it every second day if she's really attached there. She's got it, because the emotions will cover it over, and she'll start to worry about mum. And that's dishonest, because it doesn't work. Mum is making a demand on her and will ruin her marriage.
I try to get her to see that position. She becomes emotional immediately. And when you say many words, just tells me to shut up. And she doesn't want to hear it from me. She said, I know how I am with my mother. I don't need anybody to tell me.
You know what it means, don't you? If it goes on, it's going to come between you, and it's going to come between your love and come between you, and she's going to lose you if you're not careful, or she'll lose you in one way or another. You just cut off from her. So she's got to come to her senses, but that's up to you to do it, and I trust that somewhere along the way in this week, if you're here for the week, or today, you are strengthened in your resolve and also your resources to deal with it. Thank you. All right, it's lunchtime now. We're going to break for lunch.